Hello everybody, welcome back to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today we're going to go over the fight card for UFC 71, Jan versus Dvalishvili. First off, I just want to apologize for the picture quality. My normal camera is not working and I'm using the computer camera, and I could see that from here, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look, the quality is not that good, and just the whole pan and the fisheye look, I guess it's kind of just the way it looks from my end. It doesn't look good. Hopefully it looks better when I upload it, but hopefully next week we'll get a new camera and we'll fix this problem. Anyways, let's go into the fights for this weekend. We're going to start off with the preliminary card and move our way up to the main card. We'll start with the first fight and we'll move right up to the main fight. So first off, Tyson Nam versus Bruno Silva. Tyson Nam, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 21 wins, 12 losses, 1 draw, 39 years old. Bruno Silva, 5'4", 65-inch reach, 12 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 32 years old. There is a decent amount of difference in age. 7 years is getting to that point where I think you have to have 8 years or more where 2/3 or 65 or 70% of the fighters win when they're younger. But, you know, Tyson Nam does not, even though for the weight class he should be getting old, he looked really good in his last fight. He doesn't look like he's getting old. I know he took a couple of years off for a leg injury. Bruno Silva, actually, he hasn't been fighting for a couple of years either. So he's coming back. This is his first fight in about 2 years. So going over the fighting styles, Tyson Nam really, the last fight he fought against Ode Osborne was a great fight. I thought he was going to lose that fight. I bet against him. He came out, didn't throw a lot of volume, but he really picked the shots, was very quick, and ended up knocking out Ode Osborne. Bruno Silva, like 2 years ago, I've seen him fight. I find him a little too short. Again, it's one of those things, like whenever you get these weight classes, you get these shorter guys. Bruno Silva is explosive. He's pretty good on the ground, and he's got this really big knockout power, but to me it's like, well, he's always lunging in, he's got to get in close. I don't know. He's the favorite. A lot of people seem to be really favoring him. He's coming back, 32 years old. I guess they're not thinking Tyson Nam's going to win. I think Tyson Nam's has got a great takedown defense. I don't think Bruno Silva's ground game is going to get started. I think this is going to end up on the feet. I think Tyson Nam is a better technical boxer. I think that Bruno Silva might have more volume, but I think that he's going to have a hard time reaching Tyson Nam, and Tyson Nam is a great counter striker. I'm picking Tyson Nam to win. Decent amount of confidence in this, about 55-56%. We'll go over the board later. So for this fight, I'm picking Tyson Nam. He is the underdog. He's my first underdog pick. So we'll see how the night goes with this first fight. And we move on. Next fight, Victor Henry versus Tony Gravely. Victor Henry, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 22 wins, 6 losses, 35 years old. Tony Gravely, 5'5", 69-inch reach, 23 wins, 8 losses, 31 years old. Victor Henry, high volume, great on the feet, very good technically, good movement, good footwork, good on the ground, great takedown defense. Came into the UFC totally an underdog, beat one of the better guys in the UFC. Everyone freaked out, couldn't believe how good this guy was. Next fight, fights a Sunseo, which everybody thought was on the decline. All of a sudden, he looked human and he didn't look very good. I don't know if it was because Sunseo looked so good or if Victor Henry was so bad. But he lost that decision and everybody just like deflated themselves on this guy, which is fine. He is human. Tony Gravely, 5'5". You know what? I find him always a little on the shorter end. He's a power puncher. He's very compact, but he's a wrestler. So he's trying to throw big power and take you to the ground and pound you. He's always seems to be on the shorter end of it. He's very powerful, but I find that as the fight goes on, his cardio is always fading. So what he starts off in the first round, he doesn't end up in the third round. And he could be a little chinny at times. I've seen him get knocked out. I think that in this fight, he is the underdog, and I think he's going to lose this fight. I think his heavy wrestling tactic is not going to really go well with Victor Henry. I think Victor Henry's got a great takedown defense. He's quick and he's got good footwork. I think Victor Henry will be able to outland Tony Gravely. I don't think Victor Henry is going to get caught by a big shot by Tony Gravely. If Assunção didn't catch him, who was a much better fighter than Gravely, then Gravely's not going to catch him either. I think Victor Henry is going to come in and redeem himself, and he's going to beat Gravely, and fairly high confidence pick. Victor Henry is the favorite, not a huge favorite, but minus 150. Picking Victor Henry. Next fight, Ariane Lipski versus J.J. Aldrich. Ariane Lipski, 5'6", 67-inch reach, 14 wins, 8 losses, 29 years old. J.J. Aldrich, 5'5", 67.5-inch reach, 11 wins, 5 losses, 30 years old. Almost identical across the board. I usually bet against J.J. Aldrich. I always find that she's overrated. She's overrated as far as like when she fights the top tier talent. I always bet against her, and she's not top tier talent, but she's definitely mid-tier talent, and she could beat any girls below her. She's well-rounded. I find she's good on the ground. She's good on the feet. She's tough. She's durable. When you compare her to the top level guys, she's a little too slow. She's not great. She's not great anywhere. She's good everywhere. And I think that she's definitely a lot better than Ariane Lipski. Ariane Lipski, she's the best of the bottom. So the bottom of the barrel, she's the best. I don't know how she wins this fight. J.J. Aldrich, I think, is better than her everywhere. She lost her last fight. Again, I picked actually Lipski on the last fight. She got knocked out. J.J. Aldrich, I picked against her. She actually lost the last fight, but she lost against someone who's a contender. So, and she did really well against her, and that was Chesterfield. Was it? Whatever her name. the girl who just beat Adriana Andrade and ruined my parlay. So yeah, I think I'm definitely got a high confidence pick in J.J. Aldrich. I think she goes out and she takes care of Ariane Lipski. I think there's nowhere that Ariane Lipski beats J.J. Aldrich. Very high confidence pick for J.J. Aldrich. She is a heavy favorite. She's minus 400. I hate to see that much of a heavy favorite. I mean, but really, Ariane Lipski is not going to win this fight. Something drastic has to happen for that to happen. I can't see it happening. We move on. Mario Bautista, 5'9", 69-inch reach, 11 wins, 2 losses, 29 years old. Guido Canetti, 5'6", 68-inch reach, 10 wins, 7 losses, 43 years old. I mean, the glaring difference is Canetti is 43 years old. But if you see him fight, he looks really good. He's definitely past the due date or the expiry date for most fighters in that weight class. But he's got really hard kicks, throws big bombs, moves side to side, has a good takedown defense, has a pretty good takedown game, but he's a real powerful striker. At any point, this guy can put your lights out. So he's really dangerous. Now, Batista's a huge favorite. He's like a minus 1,000. Mario Bautista, he's definitely top 15 guy, maybe top 10. I've seen him. He lost an unusual fight to who did he lose? He got knocked out by somebody, and everybody didn't expect that. But he's great on the feet, very strong, for the most part very durable, except for that one knockout. Good on the ground, good takedown defense. There is nowhere that Mario loses to Guido, which is why he's such a heavy favorite. But Guido does have a chance of knocking Mario out. Mario's been knocked out. Guido's got the power. He's got really hard kicks. He hurts people with his kicks. He goes 100% whatever he throws. It's full on 100%. And he's got a lot of experience. He knows how to throw a punch. He knows how to throw a kick. Has got good movement. he tends to taper off as the rounds go on. But I think Mario, he's the biggest favorite on the card. He's definitely he's my highest pick, like as far as percentages of winning. I think that he's going to be definitely up there. So he's going to win this fight. There's only a chance of some kind of weird knockout. That's it for Guido Canetti. Otherwise, he's going to get dominated and he's going to lose this fight. I don't even know why they kind of made this fight. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, Guido Canetti, I don't know if this is a short notice fight or somebody that if Mario was supposed to fight, because it just doesn't make any sense to fight Guido Canetti because he's so low on the totem pole. And Mario Batista, everyone knows he's in the mid tier trying to move to the top tier. But minus 1,000, I mean, there's no money to be made really. But we're going to throw him in the parlay. Hopefully he doesn't ruin it. A lot of people would just say maybe don't put him in the parlay because there's not a lot of money to be made. But I'm going to put him in mine. You don't have to put him in yours. And we move on. Next fight, Cedric Dumas. I mean, it sounds French, but, you know, in America and Canada, it would be, it's actually not Canada because we speak French up here. In America, it'd be Cedric Dumas, but Cedric Dumas versus Josh Fremd. Cedric Dumas is 6'2", 79-inch reach, 7 wins, 0 losses, 27 years old. Josh Fremd, 6'4", 76-inch reach, 9 wins, 4 losses, 29 years old. Almost the same age. You know, Fremd is 2 inches taller. Dumas has got his 2 inches longer his arms. It's his Cedric Dumas's first fight in UFC. Josh Fremd's his third fight. He had a short notice fight a couple of fights ago. He's lost his last 2 fights. He actually did a real good accounting on himself on the ground when his first short fight against Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy Hernandez surprisingly couldn't put him away. I think he even won the second round against Fluffy, had him on the ground. So he comes back and he fights the next fight against Gore, and Trayvon Gore, and he started a fight pretty good, and they were going back and forth on the feet, but Trayvon Gore just got him in this guillotine choke. I mean, it looked like he almost tore his head off. To tell you the truth, it was really gross to look at just how bad he had him in the choke, and we let him go. He was already out. He fell over, like it looked like his head was about to pop off. So he lost a really bad fight there. Cedric Dumas, I mean, the guy's good everywhere. I think he's like a street fighter type of guy. He's good on the ground. He's good on the feet. He's got good takedown defense. I don't know. Overall he seems fairly competent in everything he does. Josh Fremd, I mean, he's fairly competent as well. This is going to be a close fight. I don't think it's going to be any kind of blowout, even though Dumas is minus 200 favorite. People are picking him to win. I'm picking him to win. I think he should beat Fremd. I think Josh Fremd is barely good enough to be in the UFC. And so I guess we'll find out where Cedric Dumas is. I think he's pretty good. He looks like he's got a lot of experience. I saw some of his fights before the UFC. He's fought some decent guys, and he seems well-rounded. I think he's going to win. He could take a punch too, and Josh Fremd, he's tough too. So this is going to be a really good fight, and they're both really tall for the division. So that kind of goes out the window, which is nice, and then they won't be relying on just length. But Aizen Dumas has fought other guys who are 6'4" in his prior fights before UFC. So I've seen him match up against tall guys. He did pretty good. I don't know if Fremd has fought anybody as tall as him, kind of thing. So I'm picking Dumas to win on this. I think he's more well-rounded. I think Fremd is a little overrated. I think he's got a great takedown submission defense. As opposed to maybe submissions offense. So he surprised me with his first fight. I think that he survived, but Dumas to win this one. And we move on. Rafael Assunção versus Davy Grant. Rafael Assunção, 5'5", 66-inch reach, 28 wins, 9 losses. He's 40 years old. Davy Grant, 5'8", 69-inch reach, 14 wins, 6 losses, 37 years old. Rafael Assunção, he won. He just beat Victor. Coincidentally, there's a lot of guys on this card that have just fought another guy on this card, just within like the last few fights. So Rafael Assunção fought Victor Henry. Everybody picked Victor Henry. After his first debut fight, they thought he was going to wipe the floor with Assunção. Assunção did great. He had 3 bad knockouts prior to this, but it was with the top tier guys, the top level guys. So he got knocked out. People thought he was done and washed up. He comes in and he fights a great fight. Good takedown defense, good movement, good counter striking, and he basically outstruck a high volume guy, which was Victor Henry. So he surprised everybody at his defense and how accurate he was and how good his footwork was. And he's fighting Davy Grant, who's 37 years old. So now they're both getting into that top range. I mean, Assunção, of course, is older. Davy Grant, I've always wondered why he's not actually ranked higher. The guy is solid. He has fantastic leg kicks, cripples people with his leg kicks, especially his low calf kicks. Got power, can knock people out, can take a punch, is a real grinder, doesn't quit. When I saw this fight, I thought, you know what? Davy Grant's going to win. Because Rafael Assunção doesn't have the volume. Davy Grant's going to put a lot of pressure on him, and Davy Grant is going to kick his legs till he can't walk. And then I started to think about it. I'm like, okay, I want to pick Davy Grant. Davy Grant just finished knocking out Jonathan Martinez, who is pretty well ranked. He actually is fighting on this card as well. Coincidentally, like I said, it always seems they're all here. The guys who fought each other. So Rafael Assunção, when he fought Victor Henry, good low kicks, high volume, high pressure. Probably cleaner striking than Davy Grant. Davy Grant probably more powerful, but when he throws wide looping punches, and if you get caught, he's going to knock you out. And I thought about it. Okay, how did Rafael Assunção beat Victor Henry? He had great side-to-side movement. Victor Henry had a hard time to get a beat on him. He moved side to side, continually circling. Davy Grant's primary weapon is low kicks. They're hard to implement if the guy is moving in a circle. And that's what Assunção was doing against Victor Henry. So I kind of flipped back to Assunção on a low confidence pick, just because I think he's going to be getting backed up by Davy Grant, but he's not moving straight back. He's going to be moving side to side, and he's going to be circling. And I think Davy Grant's going to have a hard time landing his leg kicks. Assunção is a really good counter striker, as he showed against Victor Henry, who's actually a really fast striker. He actually ended up getting the better of the striking, even though Victor Henry is a high volume striker. Davy Grant is a busy guy. He doesn't quit. He keeps going. So I mean, he's not a low volume fighter. He doesn't lose because he doesn't throw enough. But I think in this case, if he starts to throw wide punches, like I've seen him do even when he knocked off Jonathan Martinez, I think Assunção doesn't move back straight. He moves in a circle, he throws a wide punch, and he's going to get countered. So I'm picking Assunção. He is the underdog. It was a tough pick. It probably was the one I had to think about the most. But just looking at the styles, and I really wanted to pick Davy Grant. I really think that he's a better fighter than his ranking. But after seeing the last performance of Assunção, even though he's a little shorter, I don't really like the shorter guys because they lose that in reach. They always have to compensate. And but he was a shorter guy against Victor Henry too. So I'm going to pick Assunção, low confidence pick for the upset. We move on. Last fight of the prelims, the main prelim fight. Carl Williams versus Lucas Brzeski. Brzezinski. So Carl Williams, 6'3", 79-inch reach, 7 wins, 1 loss, 33 years old. Lucas Brzezinski, 6'4", 78-inch reach, 8 wins, 2 losses, 30 years old. Almost identical across the board. Lucas Brzezinski, I bet against him last fight against Martin Buday. And I actually thought he won the fight against Martin Buday, but Martin Buday, I think, won a split decision against him. And Martin Buday is one of those up-and-coming heavyweights. And Lucas Brzezinski is tall, but he's actually a light. He's 235, 40 pounds. So he's a small heavyweight. Carl Williams, he's actually a light heavyweight, but he's going to be fighting about the same weight, 235, 240 in heavyweight. But he's actually normally in light heavyweight. Again, one of those ones, low confidence picks. I had to really go back and forth on it. Carl Williams is a good wrestler. Once he gets a hold of you, he likes to put the seatbelt on and wrap his hands around you and the clinch around your waist, and he does not let go. But from what I've seen, he's fought a lot of guys that are smaller than him. And weren't able to get away from that. He's got some fairly good striking. They're fairly technical strike. He's a good technical striker, good boxer. I don't know how well his movement is. And for some reason, Lucas Brzezinski, he's just a guy that just likes to fight. He doesn't fight a whole bunch. I mean, if you look at it, it's 8-2. He's 30 years old. He's been in the UFC now for this is his second fight. But the last guy he fought, he was just a dog, and he just kept going and going and going. And I thought his gas tank would run out, and his gas tank does seem to fade as the rounds go on, but the guy keeps coming. His hands are a little too low, but I think that might even help him with Carl Williams if Carl Williams is trying to take him down. But I think it seems like Carl Williams is the kind of guy who wants to clinch, and then from the clinch kind of throw you on the ground or trip you. Doesn't seem like a real double leg type of takedown type of person. I'm going to go with Lucas Brzezinski just because the guy's just a grinder. And just when you think he's out of it, he finds some way to throw some extra punches. Just when you think he's running out of energy, it seems like I just have the feeling he's going to grind this one out. Even though last time he was grinding, he actually lost a split decision. Carl Williams, I just don't see a lot of knockout power. People are betting on him because he's like a wrestler, and I don't know. I mean, I remember in his Contender Series, he fought another big guy who was supposedly a Penn State wrestler who looked absolutely terrible. So judging from that, he can wrestle really good. But I don't know if the guy he wrestled was any good. Even though he was a wrestler, he didn't look any good. And if you look into his record, he beat, even to get to the Contender Series, he beat a bunch of bums with losing records. So my brain's saying Carl Williams, but my gut's saying Brzezinski. So I'm going to go with Brzezinski as an ever so slight favorite, just because if I have to pick. But Brzezinski is the underdog. He's a plus 187. We'll see how that works out. Now going on to the main card. It's opening with Vitor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. Otherwise, what's his nickname? The Pleasure Man. Actually, if you watched his old fights, he was his handle was The Gift, and I kind of like this, The Pleasure Man. And, you know, he's like a real lady boy, you know, long blonde hair. It's got it in a ponytail. I mean, come on. I don't know what that means, but he's the Pleasure Man. Vitor Petrino, 6'2", 77-inch reach, 7 wins, 0 losses, 25 years old. Anton Turkalj, 6'4", 78-inch reach, 8 wins, 1 loss, 26 years old. This one I went back and forth as well. Vitor Petrino, he's just a bull. Like, the guy is built like a brick shit house. Very powerful punches. knocks out almost everybody. I think almost all his fights ended in the first round or within minutes of the second round. He's got pretty good movement. He's got pretty good takedown defense, but he can be taken down. He can be hurt. In his Dana White Contender Series, he was taken down. He was also knocked down briefly by his opponent, but he came back. He's very powerful, but he looks like the kind of guy that's going to fade because he just got so much muscle mass. I just think he's going to fade if he runs into a guy who doesn't get put out right away. And I don't think he's experienced that yet. Anton Turkalj is a big guy. Again, he's got knockout power, but he's not the same. He's not as technical as Petrino. He got these wild kicks and wild knees and wild punches and spinning back fists. And he gets hit a lot, actually. But so far, he's had a really good chin. So I've never seen him get knocked down at this point. I don't think so. Petrino I actually seen get knocked down. So Turkalj, might not be as muscular, but he looks like he's really durable. And in his fights that I've seen, he seems really durable. And he's got a ground game too. So he's got these clinches and these trips and everything else. He doesn't have a good takedown as far as like double legs wrestlers, but once he gets you to the clinch, and then he kind of just either gets to your back or puts a seatbelt on you and just pushes you down or trips you. And he has fought guys that are as big as he is, that are very powerful strikers, and he's taken a lot of punishment and he's come back to win. Actually, one of his fights, he fought a guy 6'4", Turkish guy, Obi Aslan, and the guy was beating him in the first round, very powerful punches, but the guy burned out, and eventually Turkalj, got him to the ground and he choked him. So I'm thinking this is kind of going to end up like that. Turkalj's going to have to take him to the ground. So slight edge towards Turkalj. This is a pick'em fight. -110 on both. Next fight, Jonathan Martinez versus Said Nurmagomedov. Jonathan Martinez, again, we had brought him up because he had fought a few of the same guys. Said Nurmagomedov, 5'8", 70-inch reach, 17 wins, 2 losses, 30 years old. Jonathan Martinez, 5'8", 70-inch reach, 17 wins, 4 losses, 28 years old. I really like Jonathan Martinez. I know he's been knocked out. He was knocked out by Davy Grant. When he got knocked out cold. It didn't there wasn't much after that. He just got knocked out. Davy Grant hit him one time. He was already out cold. So I'm wondering how good of a punch he can take. Even though I've seen him take some punches, I'm saying some guys get knocked out, fall down, and recover quickly. He is not one of those guys. He gets knocked out, I think it's done. So there's no recovery. Not in the few seconds that you need to recover. But he's pretty good on the ground. You don't see him fighting a lot on the ground. He's got phenomenal leg kicks, just phenomenally hard leg kicks. He was destroying Davy Grant's legs. If Davy Grant didn't knock him out, Davy Grant wasn't going to be walking. He wasn't going to make it to the end of the round. Jonathan Martinez was taking control of that fight with leg kicks. Every fight he fought, even against Cub Swanson, took control of the fight with leg kicks, and that sets up his hands. I really like betting on this guy. Said Nurmagomedov, again, they're the same height, same reach, almost the same age. Said Nurmagomedov, the first time I saw him, I thought this guy was unstoppable. Then he fought Barcelo, and Barcelo just kept taking him to the ground, and you saw his weakness. And it seems like that's where his weak point is, guys who can get him to the ground. And the last fight, he fought Kirkmanov, and I picked Kirkmanov to beat him. And Said Nurmagomedov was losing the fight against Kirkmanov because Kirkmanov was just on him and on him and on him. He couldn't even get off the strikes because every round that started, Kirkmanov was wrestling going for his legs. And Saeed lost the first round because of that. It was a close round, but you know, he got a few strikes in, but he kept trying to get up. He was always trying to get up because he'd be taken down, he'd be trying to get up. And the second round, boom, started the same way, and he got this nasty guillotine choke. He tried it a couple of times, but he finally cinched it up, and he's got those really skinny choking arms. And Kirkmanov tapped out, and he won by submission. He's actually done that to a couple of guys. I think he did it to Cody Stamen. He got him, he knocked him down, and then he cinched up a guillotine choke. So he's done this to quite a few people. So I don't think Jonathan Martinez is going to be on the ground anyways. I think it'll be a mistake for him. I think Saeed's got great takedown defense. So Saeed probably will be able to avoid those devastating leg kicks just because of how well he moves. He's got great foot movement, and he's got crazy kicks of his own. He's got crazy punches, spinning. He's so accurate with his punches too. I don't think he's going to lose this fight. I think he's going to win this fight. I think Jonathan Martinez is a great fighter. I think this guy is just going to be too fast for him. I don't think he's going to get his kicking game on. I think he's going to get caught with some really crazy strikes. And I think we're going to see how well Jonathan Martinez's chin holds out in this fight. So I'm picking Saeed Nurmagomedov with a fair degree of high confidence. Next fight, Ricardo Ramos versus Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo, 5'10", 70-inch reach, 9 wins, 1 loss, 28 years old. Ricardo Ramos, 5'9", 72-inch reach, 16 wins, 4 losses, 27 years old. Ricardo Ramos is a heavy favorite. Austin Lingo, tough guy. I mean, I don't see what everyone sees. There's a lot of people picking Austin Lingo. Oh, he's really tough. He's going to be able to withstand it. And he is tough. He's a good boxer. I just don't think he's well-rounded. Like Ricardo Ramos is a well-rounded fighter. He's good. He's a good stand-up guy. He's not as clean in his boxing, but he's got dynamic strikes, good leg kicks, great takedown defense, and when he gets on the ground, he's dangerous. So Austin Lingo has got to out-tough Ramos and keep it on the ground. And I think Ramos could still compete with him standing. Ramos might not be as tough as Lingo. I think Ramos needs to take Lingo to the ground. Supposedly Lingo's pretty good on the ground. I don't know. I've seen Ramos, and I think he's going to win that competition. I got a fair degree, high confidence that Ramos is going to win this. Whew. I remember last time I said that. So let's hope nothing bad happens. Next fight, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. Nikita Krylov, 6'3", 77.5-inch reach, 29 wins, 9 losses, 31 years old. Ryan Spann, 6'5", 79-inch reach, 21 wins, 7 losses, 31 years old. Very similar. I mean, Ryan Spann is a couple inches taller, you know, probably 1.5 inch reach. Very dangerous, very big. He's big for the division. In the last, they were supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, but something happened to Krylov. I think he got sick, stomach flu or something, you know, diarrhea. They were the headliners, so there was going to be a 5-round fight. Now they've moved the fight 2 weeks. Now it's a 3-round fight. 3 rounds, and Krylov is coming off being sick. And then they were supposed to be a 205, and I think now the fight's at a catch weight, so they're actually going to come in heavier, so they don't have to cut so much. I think all this plays into Ryan Spann's hands. He doesn't have to fight 5 rounds, and Krylov is a grinder, and he'll grind you, and he'll take you down, and he'll tire you out. Nikita Krylov's coming off being sick. Ryan Spann does not have to make 205, and I think he has a harder time making 205. He's just a bigger guy. Originally, I had picked Krylov with a slight edge to Krylov to pick him for that fight. This one, I have it as a 50-50 where I pick both of them. I do that once in a while when I just can't make up my mind. So I pick one parlay with one guy, one parlay with the other guy. And that's what I'm doing here, because Krylov is going to come in and wrestle heavy. Ryan Spann's got a great guillotine choke, submitted. He's got more wins by submission than by knockout. So it kind of plays into his hands. Krylov hopefully has enough experience where he won't leave his neck exposed when he's trying to take him down. Krylov to wear down Ryan Spann. It's a 3-round fight. I mean, does he have the opportunity to really wear him down? He's a better technical striker, but Spann is very dangerous. He's got very hard punches. He's knocked quite a few guys out. Ryan knocked out Reyes, the last guy, and yeah, I'm going 50-50 on this one. It's going to be a good fight, but I just can't pick. There's too many variables. It was so hard. I was going back and forth. I want to pick Krylov. I like Krylov, but just all the things that are happening now are playing in Spann's favor. And I think the little edge Krylov had might be gone. So I'm going 50-50 on it, picking both on different parlays. Next fight, the co-main event, Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. Alexander Volkov, 6 foot 7 inches tall, 80-inch reach, 35 wins, 10 losses, 34 years old. Alexander Romanov, 6 foot 2, 75-inch reach, 16 wins, 1 loss, 32 years old. Almost the same age. Volkov's got 2.5 times more fights. This guy's been fighting for years. He fought in other organizations. He's a kickboxer. He has a kickboxer style. I really like watching Alexander Volkov. I like the fighter. He's an exciting fighter. Alexander Romanov, he's a wrestler. He's going to take you down, going to pound you down. Really big body. Basically picks you up, throws you down, and then lies on you, right? And tries to ground and pound you. I like Alexander Volkov. I think he's got a great style. A lot of guys are going to have a hard time with him. The only 2 guys that were really able to take him down and keep him down was not Lewis. It was it was the guy Lewis knocked out. His name is eluding me. Anyways, he's a top 5 guy. He and another guy who knocked him out. Why is that? Why are the names eluding me? What are the names? Oh man. Let me check because this is bothering me. I'm gonna check right now. Okay, so Volkov. All right, let's see here. He fought Tom Aspinall and he got submitted. It was the first time he's ever been submitted, straight armbar. He got taken down. Surprisingly, everyone's like, well, Tom Aspinall's not that good. Tom Aspinall is not a wrestler, but he's very good. He's definitely a contender. The other guy was Curtis Blades. Yeah, Curtis Blades took him down 1 time? No, 14 times. Curtis Blades took him down 14 times. Before that, Fabricio Verdum took him down 3 times. And he ended up winning that fight by punching him out, knocked him out. So he doesn't get taken down a lot. I mean, you really got to be a top tier guy. I mean, absolutely top tier. And Aspinall took him down twice. So the other fights, I mean, looking just at this, there's 15 fights here. He's not being taken down. He's a hard guy to take down. Now, Alexander Romanov, he's good. I don't know if he's that good. I think he's just a big body. He's been fighting a lot of lower tier guys. Marcin Tybura fought him and beat him. I picked Marcin Tybura to upset him. He was a big underdog. And he got exposed. Once he can't take you down, he can get tired. And I think Volkov is going to be hard to take down. There's very few guys. I mean, no doubt Volkov's working on his takedown defense continually because that's what guys want to do. So I think Volkov's got a good style. He's got long jab. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's got long legs. He's got that front kick to the midsection, which almost got Lewis ended up knocking him out in the last 30 seconds of the 5th round, right? But up to that point, Lewis almost literally gave up because he was pounding him. with his front leg kick right in the stomach. And like Lewis, actually was a third round. Yeah, 4 minutes, 49 seconds. So right at the end, he got caught and Lewis caught him and he won that fight. Alexander Volkov, significant strikes, 121. Derek Lewis, 39. So he was just getting pounded. And Volkov had a takedown too on top of that. So, but anyways, it shows up as a loss. I could see a lot of that happening with Alexander Romanov. Maybe a first round, he takes him down. Maybe a second round, Volkov doesn't get taken down. Romanov is going to start to tire. He got taken down 14 times by Blades. I mean, and he kept going right to the end of the fight, and Blades was out of gas. And when they interviewed him, he goes, yeah, Volkov, he's the real deal. He's for real, because he really had to work hard to try to keep him down. And he's an excellent wrestler. Like, he's probably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. He was supposed to fight, well, he fought Aspinall, and Aspinall got an injury, and he has a win over Aspinall. So I don't think Alexander Romanov's at that level yet. I think that what he needs to do is take Volkov down. Volkov's a hard guy to take down. Volkov's going to keep him at the end of his kicks. I think he's going to kick the hell out of his stomach. I think he's going to, with that, I mean, he's going to just wear on the gas tank. I mean, it's hard to breathe when you get kicked straight in the stomach. Volkov's a really big guy too. So Volkov to win, decent amount of confidence. He is the underdog, plus 130. I picked a lot of underdogs in this one. And main event, Peter Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. Peter Yan, 5'7", 67-inch reach, 16 wins, 4 losses, 30 years old. Dvalishvili, 5'6", 68-inch reach, 15 wins, 4 losses, 32 years old. You know what? The number one problem with Peter Yan when he fights people is he's always the shorter guy. In this case, he's the same height. He's got a 1-inch height advantage. He's got 1 reach disadvantage. These guys are the same size. Peter Yan is always fighting guys bigger and taller than him with a longer reach. And he's been doing great. He was a champ. So I like the way Peter Yan fights. It's exciting. You know, I just don't want to watch any guys getting held on the ground and held on the ground. He doesn't fight like that. Merab Dvalishvili, he fights like that. Okay, and he wins. He's really good at a couple of things, and he wins fights. But I hate watching his fights because they suck. So I hope he loses. But Merab Dvalishvili is going to come in. He's gonna wrestle. He's gonna wrestle, and he doesn't stop. He goes for 1 takedown, next takedown, next takedown, next takedown. For the whole 5 minutes, he's going to be taking you down, and he won't stop. And he doesn't get tired. So he's got a lot of energy. He uses it. He's basically at the level 10 the whole fight, and he can go till the end of the fight. So he breaks people because he moves very fast. He doesn't give you a break, and he can keep that pace till the end. So you find that even guys who do well against him at the beginning eventually wear down. Peter Yan doesn't seem like he's going to be wearing down. I think his stamina is going to be decent. It's not going to be like a Merab Dvalishvili, who is called the Machine for a reason. But Yan's got the better boxing. He's got the good boxing. He's got the high guard. He's punching. Dvalishvili's got a couple of good punches. I think Yan's going to be able to counter on it. He just got to be careful, because as soon as you try to counter, Dvalishvili's going to try to take him down. So now the battle is going to be, can Peter Yan hit him enough times to keep him from shooting his shot? It's going to be a close fight, even though Peter Yan's the way better mixed martial artist. But Merab Dvalishvili does some things really well, and he doesn't get tired. And he one time got almost punched out, but he recovered and he ended up winning the fight. So he could take a punch too. Peter Yan could take a punch. He's a great boxer. He's a great kickboxer. He's got really good takedown defense. He's got a 90% takedown defense. So he stops a lot of people from taking him down. So Merab Dvalishvili, the thing is, he's going to be shooting like 10 takedowns a fight. So he's probably going to get him down one time. Now, can Peter Yan get up? I think he can. Dvalishvili doesn't have a good ground game as far as holding people down, but he keeps taking you down over and over again until you get tired. So, but Peter Yan should get up. Peter Yan's got a good clinch game. He's got a good dirty boxing game. Merab loves pinning people against the fence. If he can do that, maybe Peter Yan can, turn it around and pin him up against the fence and do the dirty boxing and elbows. So this is going to be a chess match, and everybody knows what Dvalishvili is going to do. Peter Yan knows what Dvalishvili is going to do. Dvalishvili might not know what Peter Yan's going to do, because Peter Yan can really do everything. Peter Yan can even wrestle and probably take Dvalishvili down. It's all about the gas tank's going to be on Dvalishvili. So it's going to be a tough fight to call. I'm picking Peter Yan. I think he can do this. I think he's the better mixed martial artist. I think Murad Dvalishvili eventually will come to a point where he can't just rely on his two talents of relentless takedowns and big gas tank to win. Or maybe he can. I guess we'll find out. But Yan is a minus 275 favorite. Dvalishvili is plus 225. I think Yan's going to be able to land a few punches. I think if he does he's going to defend a few takedowns. I think he should go on the attack and actually try to take Dvalishvili down, pin Dvalishvili against the fence, and dirty box him. As a matter of fact, just pin him up against the fence and dirty box him, and don't give him a chance to take you down. I've got it set up on the board where I'm picking both. Even though I think Peter Yan's going to win, as a backup, this is a 5-round fight. Dvalishvili is going to be good to go all 5 rounds. As a backup, I've got a stop valve on the one section where we go to the parlay and we pick Yan, and we go through the parlay and we pick one string with Dvalishvili as a backup in case he wins some kind of decision here. He's not going to knock out Peter Yan. He's going to win it. He's going to outpoint him. And the problem I see with that, or the problem with Yan, is Yan starts off slow because he goes out there and he sees what you're going to do, and he makes a plan for the next few rounds, what he's going to do to you. But the problem is, if he waits 2 rounds for that, he's only got 3 rounds left, and then Dvalishvili might have to steal only 1 round. And that's the problem. But it is 5 rounds, and it kind of gives Peter Yan a little bit longer time. If he only takes 1 round to figure Dvalishvili out, then he just has to win the 3 out of the 4 after that. But he usually loses the first round. So, having said that, we're going to go over the board. I have to turn the whole computer. Unfortunately, this is the way it is. All right. The board. What do we got? Well, high confidence pick. Bautista, minus 1,000. You can play it. You don't have to play it. I mean, the fact is that minus 1,000 doesn't give you a whole lot of value. But I'm going to play it. That's just me. Again, take as much of this as you want. Play what you think, how many legs you feel comfortable with. Again, not financial advice. You guys pick what you want to bet. What your unit bet is. Is your unit bet 50 cents, $1, $5, $3, $10? Maybe some of you have a unit bet of $100. Maybe you got a lot of money and you just need some more excitement. I don't know. But bet what you can afford to lose, and hopefully we win this one this week. 70% on Bautista. He's a minus 1,000 favorite. 65% minus 400 favorite Aldrich. Remember, last week our minus 700 favorite lost, and she was the only favorite to lose. All the other favorites won, so only one underdog won. And she beat the minus 700. So anything can happen, unfortunately. But Aldrich, I got 65%. Ramos, I got at 60%. Victor Henry, I got at 58%. He is actually an underdog. So all the lines with Brown are just to help us see the underdogs easier. He's plus 175, 125. Nurmagomedov, 57%. Is basically my confidence in this. 200 minus 250. At 56%, I'm picking Tyson Nam. He is an underdog. Here at 55%, this is where I had Jan Dvalishvili. Dvalishvili's got the line because he is the underdog. I'm picking Jan, but what I'm doing is when I have my parlays, I have one parlay including these two, I have one parlay including these three, and then I build to another parlay to 4, another parlay to 5. That way, if something happens, I mean, the further down we have a disaster happen, the more chances we're going to win a few of the more favorites. The problem is, in the last little while, we've had some heavy favorites lose. So hopefully that doesn't happen this week. So when you get to Nam, we're going to do one parlay, and then when we do this parlay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the 7th, we do one parlay with the 7th being Jan and one parlay with the 7th being Dvalishvili. So that way we could win. It's actually pretty good payout too if he did win. So in case we continue with Jan with the rest of it and Dvalishvili wins, we'll still get paid for all this, which is the plan. 54%. Again, I'm picking an underdog, Volkov. So we'll have one parlay where you can have one where you have Jan and Volkov, or if you have enough money, or if you're making smaller unit bets, you can have one with Jan in it and use continually, like we said, like another parlay with Jan, Volkov, stop. Then you do another parlay with Jan, Volkov, Dumas, stop. And once you get to the end, you can do where you switch over to Dvalishvili instead of Jan being in each of the parlays that you build on. If you have enough units, or you're betting a small enough units, I mean, it's going to cover your costs, and for the amount of money that you're going to be getting once you get past this, it should easily cover the extra units that you're going to use. And Dvalishvili is an underdog, so it's going to be a huge amount if he actually wins. But I'm picking Jan again. 50-50 on this one. We're picking both just as a stopgap. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. You know, feel free to comment and I'll try to explain it better. But so yeah, so then we have one parlay through Jan, Volkov, Dumas, another parlay through Jan, Volkov, Dumas, Turkley, and then we continue with the next parlay. So you're gonna have, depending on how many you can have, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 parlays, if you want to add one of each on different parlays, 12, 13, 14 parlays. So you bet what you can afford, and then hopefully we'll cover enough of it where one of them hits, and it's usually well enough to cover more than enough that we've got out. But you need some backup plans in case something happens. So at 54%, I got Volkov, 53% Dumas, 52% Turkuli, 51% Berzeski. Now again, he's an underdog. 50+%, which is barely over. At an underdog is a Sanseo. And again, what I've done with 50-50 Krylov span is once I do my parlay here, I put Krylov in one, and what I do is I do another parlay and I do spam in the other, just because this is a 50-50. But this is my stopgap here, just because of things that can go wrong in a decision with Jan. And Jan hasn't been winning decisions lately. He's been actually, all his decisions have been split decisions, and he's lost. So that's not good. So having said that, the bet online, the 50% deposit match, win inside the decision, no action. I haven't made a list of stuff. I just didn't get around to doing which one I would do, so I'm going to skip that this week. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right. Well, hopefully this week, last week we only had, we would have had a 7-leg parlay if Shevchenko did not get upset by, what's her name? Shevchenko, what's her name? Who upset her last week? Grasso. That's it. So that would have been a huge payout. The week before, we had another upset with a fair high confidence pick. Somebody got submitted, and oh man, I said this, like, it's not that we're getting very few wrong. It's just that you need to get them wrong furthest down the line, so some of it starts to pay out. But it's just that we've had these big upsets and they're way up the line, so they ruin the parlay from the beginning. So hopefully that doesn't happen this week. We're picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 underdogs. I hope the dogs are howling that night. Let's put it that way. I don't know why I picked so many underdogs. In a way, if they do land, it's going to be great. Because I remember winning one of the parlays in January, and it was mostly favorites, and it was a decent payout, but it wasn't a huge payout. And that's because there was no underdogs winning. So on days like this, where we're picking underdogs, and they end up winning, the payouts are huge. So the multiple effects on that. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. I've been looking through the videos, though, and I seem to get a lot of audience, a huge audience for the recaps, and not so huge for the actual picks, which is really kind of weird. And I thought it was a one-off, but this last one we had 5 times the viewers of my recap as the actual picks. I don't know how that's working out. Maybe it's the algorithm, but hit like if you like the video. Please share it with your friends if you want to share it. Subscribe to get notifications, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the recap next week. Good luck.